I read your book just last week, and I loved it. I loved the insightful style of it and the humor. You know, anyone who watches Young and the Restless automatically recognizes the title, I'll Be Damned. That's a stock Victor Newman line. Was that your idea to come up with that title?
You know, I asked my Twitter fans what they thought should be on the title, and almost unanimously they came up with that. Yes, and I agreed.
Yeah, well, it's wonderful how you're able to use it throughout the book with all the different stories as well.
Yes.
What made you decide to want to write your own autobiography?
I didn't want to be honest with you. I was prevailed upon by friends and family and some journalists I talked to before, so there you are. I thought I might as well do it now.
Was it an easy thing to do? Did it come easy to write the book?
It wasn't that difficult, really. No. Not painful. I can't say that it was painful.
You touched on some very personal parts of your life in the book.
Yes.
Was it difficult to, revisit those times, to remember those times, or?
To be honest with you, I'm not someone who has buried a lot of skeletons. I'm rather open about my life, and primarily to myself, and I have never been someone who has fooled himself about anything. I'm deeply aware of the blemishes in my character, my life, and but also the positive things. So rather realistic, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, you've been doing book tours all over the country. What has that experience been like for you?
Well, it is. I've always enjoyed meeting fans, and this is perhaps a bit more intimate, but on the whole, I'm deeply grateful to the people showing up at these book signings, and have always had a keen awareness of the fact that it is the audience, the fans, who make this whole thing possible. Without fans, I wouldn't be doing this. You and I wouldn't be talking.
Absolutely. You start the foreword of the book is by Stephen A. Smith of ESPN. How do you know him? I know it's through your passion of sports.
Stephen A., my son was always a huge fan of his. His dad, you've got to get on his show somehow. And I don't know what the catalyst was, but we have been friends ever since, and two very outspoken people. And a close friend of mine knew him and got us together. And anyway, so I just like his outspokenness. And I'm as outspoken as he is. So there you are. But we respect each other.
Okay. You go into great detail in the book about your passion of sports, how it saved you, starting from when you were a young boy with your father's death. Do you find that your involvement with sports has also helped you with acting?
I think so. In many ways, in a sense. In other words, from sports, I'm used to the feeling of anxiety before you perform. Be it in my cases, discus and javelin and shot put. When I was young, or soccer, whatever it was, or gymnastics, there was always a feeling of anxiety before you actually do it. So I was used to that. Some people, I imagine, who are not used to that kind of adrenaline rush, probably become rather scared by it. I don't know. But it's the minutes or hour or day before a big match, for example, you think about it all the time. And the same thing opening night in the theater. You think about it and think about it and envision all kinds of scenarios. And so, yes, sports in that sense has helped me a great deal. Sports also teach you to fantasize in a certain direction so as to improve your performance. You learn to focus on it in your mind a day, 2, 3, 4, 5 days before. And that obviously is the case also if you do Shakespeare or do a difficult play. On Y&R now, obviously I'm very used to the character by now, so it's in that case it's just a question of learning all those lines, and not always, but very often. And but there's still a little bit of a nervousness before a scene because you want it to go well. And in acting in our medium, or actually any medium, you need to deal with certain technical things, and you got to keep all that in mind and still try to be real. So yes, sports have helped me a great deal.
You know, I'm not only a soap opera fan, but I love my classic Hollywood stars. So I really enjoyed reading in your book about, Fernando Lamas and Esther Williams and Marlon Brando, all your different Hollywood stories. Was there are any actors in particular that really inspired you as an actor, that were particularly influential for you?
I would say Brando had a lot to do. I said Brando was a big influence. There was a French actor called Jean Gabin. There was Clark Gable, Olivier, to a certain degree, Laurence Olivier, yes. And then some wonderful British actors who somewhat were contemporaries, but Albert Finney, for example, is a wonderful actor. Peter O'Toole is a wonderful actor. And there's so many to draw from, Meryl Streep is absolutely brilliant. And I worked with Geraldine Page on Broadway in a play, and she was brilliant. So you as an artist, you sort of get glimpses of various. I'm not someone who dogmatically goes into one direction or one style. I have my own style. I'm my own person. But I know that certain people have influenced me subconsciously.
I love also the intro of your book where you were talking about, having the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and all the different actors that were there, the celebrities and actors that were there celebrating with you. I'm curious, do you ever go by and visit your star? Or?
Yeah. I have to always look for it, but I know by now I know where it is. Diagonally to the left across from the Roosevelt Hotel. That's where it is. So when I describe it to people from out of town who want to see it, and then there's some kind of a store there right above it. Anyway, yes, I have here and there. Not very often, but I have.
And also, you were talking about all the different, besides Young and the Restless, of course, all the different projects you've been involved with, Rat Patrol and Titanic. Is there a certain project besides Young and the Restless where fans will come up to you and recognize you from something else other than Victor Newman? Would it be Rat Patrol or?
It would be Rat Patrol for a lot of people, I would say. Planet of the Apes, some. Various people at various times, and referring to various television shows or films that one has done. The overwhelming, of course, majority of people refer to me as the guy on Y&R, Victor Newman.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Well, I do have to tell you, I remember when I saw Titanic here in New York City when it first opened, and the minute that you came on screen as John Jacob Astor,
right.
The whole audience was kind of like, ooh, I mean, it was a surprise.
Are you serious?
People were like, I'm serious. Everyone knew.
That's so nice.
Like, what's Victor doing on the Titanic? I could hear in the audience. Yeah. It was great fun to see you in that film, and I loved your description in the book about James Cameron.
That was so funny.
Everyone giving you horror stories about him and how much you enjoyed actually working with him.
He's a great director. He's a genius as far as I'm concerned, and I had it was nothing but a joy to work with him. Yeah.
Going to Young and the Restless, 37 years. Why do you think that Young and the Restless is always the #1 top-rated soap opera?
I don't know that. I honestly don't know the reason for that. I really don't, Laurie. I don't know. I mean, why are some films more successful than others? There are certain objective parameters here and there, but on the whole, who knows? That's what makes this business. It attracts also a lot of gamblers in a sense, because they gamble on a film being successful, a television series being successful, or certain actors being successful in certain roles. It's just a tough. No. I know they tried years ago to distill all the elements of successful films and put it in a script, and it doesn't work. It's the synchronicity of it all, the confluence of all those factors, and no one knows what the hell that is.
Okay. Well, you do mention many different moments, that memorable moments for you playing the character of Victor. What would you say was your most challenging storyline?
Let me put it this way. The most memorable moments had to do with family, meaning the first time I told Nikki that I grew up in an orphanage. That was one of the most memorable scenes. Then I would say the two other most memorable scenes had to do with the woman who played my mother, Dorothy McGuire, and George Kennedy, who played my father years later. Those three scenes, to me, are the ones that immediately come to mind when I think of memorable scenes. Yeah.
And they were important because for you, those scenes, that Bill Bell had actually written that into your character to give you more of a background to really sink your teeth into, so you weren't a stock villain.
Precisely.
Yeah, that was very interesting. Yeah. Bringing up Nikki and Melody Thomas Scott, I also enjoyed your story about the different working styles, how she's very analytical, and you like to just jump in and shoot the scene.
Yes,
what is it that
exactly. But that doesn't mean that I, in other words, we prepare differently. I'm always interested in the emotional content. That interests me. The rest doesn't interest me. I'm interested in the emotional content, in the reality of a scene. Do you know what I'm saying? That is what I respond to. I don't give a damn where the camera is, or I'm not concerned about that. That's their job. Let them do their job. And I just want to play the scene as realistically as I can. And that is what gives me joy. When you do a scene and you have a third eye watching exactly what you do, I think almost every actor does, and you have a bullshit meter, and you know when a scene is off. You sense it. You say, this is phony, this is good. So, and then you have to take into consideration that time is very limited. Time is money in our profession, immediately. And so you take a number of factors into consideration, but essentially what drives me is to try to make a scene as real as I can.
What do you think it is about Victor and Nikki that the fans have so taken to? I mean, they are one of the big super couples of soap operas, and they have lasted for decades. What is it about this couple that people love?
I love working with her, and beyond that, I really don't know. We fight very well. We whenever Mel and I have fight scenes, afterwards we give each other a hug and said, you and I fight very well, and I loved it or whatever. So it's we respect each other and like each other, but that isn't the reason why. I don't know. Again, I don't know. With some people you have a certain chemistry, with others you don't. It's a very hard thing to define, and a very hard thing to bring about arbitrarily. It's either there or it isn't.
I do. Is there a quality that Victor Newman has that you, as Eric Braeden, wish that you had? No,
none. I just wish I had his money.
Good answer. That'll work.
That's all. Otherwise, hell no. I'm happy with who I am, But his money, hey.
Okay.
So,
we'll take the corporation too, yeah.
Yes.
Is there anything you'd like to see Victor Newman do that he hasn't yet done? Any kind of storyline you would love to play that you've never had the chance to play?
That's a good question. I so trust the writers that I and by the time they do a storyline, it's too late. No, I can't really say that right now. I'm happy with what I'm given and try to make the best out of it, and I can't say that. It's a very rounded, it gives one a lot of opportunities to play many things, to be tough, to be Machiavellian, to be vulnerable, to be all that.
Well, just like you have humor in your book, you play the character Victor with humor, and I'm just curious with the nicknames Victor gives people, like Billy Boy and Jackass Abbott and all those nicknames. Is that you, or is that in the script?
It's me.
That's you. It's funny.
Yeah.
I always crack up, when I hear
I
hear about Billy Boy Abbott. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yes. It is.
Yeah.
It is slightly denigrating. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, of course, but that's what Victor does. So
Yeah, exactly.
Switching gears a bit. Also, there's been some news out that you are involved in a movie that your son Christian is involved with. I believe he's directing, called Den of Thieves.
He wrote it. He wrote the script, and it finally, after 10 years, is came to fruition, and he's directing it now. So I couldn't be happy about that. I played a little cameo in it. He said, "Dad, you got to do it." And I said, "Okay." So I spent 2 wonderful days on the set and watched him work, and what a trip. What a trip. And I loved every moment of it. He is very much in control, but very nice about it. And the actors love working with him. And it's just so wonderful to see, because he has been talking about this for 10 years. And finally, the project was financed, and he is shooting it as we speak in Atlanta, Georgia.
And what has it been like acting under your son, under the direction of your son?
I wondered about that before I went, and then when I did it, he came to give me some notes or whatever. I said, okay. Now, he and I speak in shorthand because we know each other so well. So, and I told him a lot about how to deal with actors over the years. And I said, don't become a dictator on the set. Don't become one of those megalomaniacs on the set who are usually nerds, who now suddenly are in the director's chair and they feel this enormous power rush. I said, don't be like that. I said, if you want to get the best performance out of actors without pissing them off, I said, go up to them and quietly, not in front of everyone, and say, after you see one performance, one run-through, and say, I love what you did. I love what you did. Could you do me a favor and do maybe a little bit more like this? Just let me see how that... Do you understand? You take the wind out of their sails by complimenting them and then asking how to maybe do it a little differently just for the... Do you understand? It's Whereas there are some directors who, no, that's not what I mean. I mean, if I have guys like that, I go after them. They don't stay upright very long. Do you understand? I can't stand those people. And there used to be a lot of those tyrants. Hitchcock was an ass, a pompous ass, apparently. I never worked with him. Thank God. I would have gone after him. And Otto Preminger was an absolute ass, an arrogant ass. And there was a picture they wanted me to do with him. I said, I'll knock him on his ass. With that, I mean tyrannical, sadistic to actors, and that I have absolutely no tolerance for. I don't give a damn who it is. Never have had, never will. And it's unnecessary. And so he learned a lot from that advice, and that's what he's doing. He talks to people very quietly, and the actors love working with him, from what I gather, you know. And there's 50 Cent, there's O'Shea Jackson, who is the son of Ice Cube, Gerard Butler, and Christian is a man's man, and he is into sports and grew up boxing in the ghettos, and so it's in other words, they don't feel that they have some, you know, strange nerd there who's directing them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Why, I'm hearing your take on how you feel directors should be. What advice would you have for an aspiring actor, someone who's looking to get into show business?
Oh, my God. I would say stay physically active, stay intellectually active, learn as much as you can, be physically active, do sports, whatever you do, to gain physical confidence. And then I would say stay intellectually curious, be interested, politics, whatever it is. And you just got to be with it. And then you should, as much as you can, do theater, do small theater, and over again. And when you do that and you find you really like it and you find that obviously it resonates with the audience, then I would say, stay in it. Otherwise, do not get into it because someone told you you were good looking. That's just do not do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because Hollywood is full of good-looking people. That's dime a dozen, and that's not what distinguishes you. It's your passion that distinguishes you.
That's a wonderful answer. Well, thank you so much, Eric, for your time, and I love the interview, and I loved your book.
I enjoyed it. That is very funny. But that anecdote you told me just now about people sitting in the theater in New York and the movie theater and seeing John Jacob Astor as Victor Newman in the Titanic, that's funny. That's very funny.
And
I love
totally
that.
a true story. Everyone just went, ooh,
that's so funny.
And I did too. I was like, oh, look who's here.
All right. Thank you, Laurie.
All right. Thank you so much.
You have a great day. Bye-bye.